Infinity is pretty much that DriTri except that run and that consistent row. So if you guys already did Infinity, that's a good way to see or have expectations for the DriTri itself. So my goal with this workshop for you guys is 1, to inform you what the DriTri is. 2, also help you guys know how to train and approach for that DriTri, so how to compete as well. So that's my big objective, and then I'm going to kind of break that down. So you're obviously seeing work on the rower, and so the objective of this workshop is to shift your mindset from an all-out row to a consistent, strong, and efficient row. And then with the floor, helping you guys learn how to do the exercises with correct form, and then creating a plan and how to approach the floor work. And then with the tread, you're seeing a 5K, or if you're doing a sprint, then you're seeing 1.5 miles-ish. And then, so I'm gonna kind of educate you on how to approach that 5K or that 1.55 distance on that tread side. So that's what my intentions are for the workshop. Let's go ahead and talk about the rower real quick. So got my notes. So with the rower, the biggest thing that I'd recommend for the DriTri is making sure that you're approaching that row, not as if it's a PR, it's gonna be your best 2,000 meter row. Actually trying to approach it as just that, like I said at the very beginning, consistent, strong, and efficient, right? So if any of you guys have done your 2,000 meter benchmark, I really recommend that you guys go to your app on your phone or ask a coach to help find that 2,000 meter benchmark row, and that'll tell you your duration. So that's your best row that you've done for 2,000 meters. That's for the full DriTri. If you're doing the half, it's only 1,000 meters. So once you figure out your PR, we're gonna actually add an entire minute to that. So let's say my PR was 7 minutes and 30 seconds, which would be so cool, right? 7 minute, 30-second PR on my 2,000 meter row. I'm gonna add a minute, and my goal would be about 8 minutes and 30 seconds. So notice that, you guys have probably noticed on the screens, we occasionally switch up your intensity rather than wattage. We're actually gonna see split times occasionally. That's what you'll see on the DriTri itself, is your split time. It's your 500 meter split. It's your expected time to finish 500 meters. So if you see 2 minutes and 30 seconds on there, that means you'll finish 500 meters in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So getting familiar with that screen rather than just your wattage, because that's not what you'll see in the actual DriTri event. If you have a hard time and you haven't had the chance to use 500 meters split time, then ask a coach to change the screen for you so you can get familiar with it, so you can practice and see what your consistent stroke rate is or range is. So going back to that predicted goal of mine, I had 8 minutes and 30 seconds to finish my 2,000 meter row. I can divide that up into 4 because 2,000 divided by 4 is going to be that 500 meters. So that means I would want to compete with a stroke rate or stroke per minute count of a stroke rate of 2 minutes and 7 seconds. So that's my split time, right? So really focusing on that. So rower approach is, once again, efficient, strong, and consistent. You guys aren't going to go for that power and aggressive row that you would for a PR in a 2,000 meter benchmark. And if you guys do have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. If we don't see them, I'll answer them after the workshop, and I can answer any questions that you guys might have for the rower section. Once again, 2,000 meters for the full, 1,000 meters for the sprint. And that's essentially what I have for you on the rower and how I would recommend approaching the row. Let's go ahead and talk about the floor. And as you're transitioning to the floor, it's a great opportunity for you guys to kind of just like walk in transition. So let's go over here and talk about the floor work a little bit. If you guys got to do your Infinity workout on Thursday, then you guys already saw the exercises. But I'm gonna first talk about how to set up your body correctly on all the exercises, and then we can kind of talk about a game plan on how to approach them, especially if you're doing that full DriTri, right? So we have 3 different anchor points in the body, right? We have our hips, we have our spine, so all the way up from the top of the head down to that tailbone is your spine, and then we also have our shoulders, okay? So that's gonna be our 3 components of our anchor points. So big thing is making sure that all 3 anchor points are in the correct position for each exercise, and nobody's expected to have perfect form. We're all at different fitness levels, And the biggest thing is that you guys come out of it feeling confident and okay and happy with how you guys did. And that doesn't mean you're always gonna have the perfect rep, but it does mean that you're trying your best and have that mindset of, you know, competing fairly. So that's the big thing that we want to look for as coaches, is like, is our competitor trying their best and working hard to to proper form. So once again, hips, trunk, and shoulders. So be mindful, and I'll kind of talk about each of those points when we go over the floor section. You're seeing 300 reps of a variety of exercises, and that'll be 2 sets of our list of exercises. So we have 40 bench hopovers, 20 bench tap squats, 20 step ups on each side, and then 20 push-ups, 20 plank jacks, and 10 burpees. So those are the exercises, and I'm going to talk about each one specifically. So we have those bench hopovers, 40 reps. So coming off the rower, you'll probably feel a little bit of fatigue, right? It's not your best row, but your heart rate's up. So those hopovers are also going to get your heart rate up a lot. So it does work a lot on the core and the quads, but you'll see a lot of time on your arms. So your hands are going to be on the bench, and you'd be hopping over both feet at the same time. And the big thing is that we're looking for is both feet are landing at the same time, and it'd be 20 on each side, so 40 total. We obviously work hard to give you guys options. So an option would be backing off and not hopping over as high, but we really emphasize, you know, trying your best and feeling confident with going through the full rep as much as possible. So you'll notice probably if your upper body isn't as strong as your lower body, that time on your hands actually can be pretty fatiguing. And going into that next exercise, we're seeing our bench tap squats. Big thing is we're trying to create a consistent height for everybody, so we're kind of just staying fair. So that bench tap squat would be 20 reps. The big thing is, once again, those anchor points. We have our shoulders, our spine, and our hips. We would want to make sure our feet are equally weighted on the ground. And as we go down, we're going to tap and come back up. So that big thing would be making sure that you're in that neutral position. If you guys are losing that shoulder girdle and that rounding through the spine, you guys have a higher risk of just injury, hurting yourself, and just not feeling as comfortable in the DriTri itself. So bench tap squats. And then we're also seeing our step ups. As a coach, we tend to see people trying to move through this very quickly, so they actually end up kind of goofing up the steps. And a big thing for me, like in my personal life too, I just love things being like really fair, and so making sure that we're all kind of doing the same exercise. Step ups would be stepping up with one, tap the toe, and then back down. We'd want to get that full extension of our leg at the top of that step up as we go back down, fully stepping both feet down. So you're going to go up, tap, and down, and that'd be 20 total on one side, and then I do 20 total on the other. To help me remember which foot I'm stepping up and down with, I'll just kind of tap my toe with the one and then bring it back down. That way I know that I don't want to switch my feet. And then I'll do 20 on each. Obviously those benches can decrease in height if anybody's looking for those options. Once again, we're seeing 20 on one foot, 20 on the other, okay? So you're seeing like back-to-back legs, right? That can get the heart rate up a lot, so be sure to check in with yourself. And then we're switching straight over to arms, where we're seeing push-ups. Big thing with push-ups is making sure that we're getting our hands put in the right spot. So they always kind of say knuckles. We're going to be mid-chest line, hands out to the side. Notice I'm going to bring my elbows out to about a 45-degree angle away from my rib cage so that I'm not too far out. If I'm out here, it puts a lot of strain on my shoulders. It doesn't feel comfortable. So bringing it in and letting those elbows kind of relax down. And we want to look at those anchor points, making sure our hips are staying in line with the body. Especially as we're fatiguing, it can tend to sag and drop, and you'll notice that those shoulder blades will as well. So push your hands into the ground, hollowing out the chest. Lift those hips in line with your heels and your shoulders. And then once again, knuckles should be in line with the chest. And we're gonna go down to a 90-degree angle and back up. So really try to do as many as you can on your hands. If you need to take a break, repeat it, going into that same push-up you can. Once again, we can have some options where you're keeping that straight body, but you're really trying to get that good depth, 9-degree angle at the elbow joint. Anything further than that, you know, you're looking awesome, but just try to maintain that good in between. Full extension at the top too. Sometimes we end up seeing people trying to rush and they go into these little baby push-ups, or they're just staying on that bottom half. We really want you to get full extension at the top, 9-degree angle down at the bottom, whether on your knees or your toes. So we're seeing our push-ups right there. From your push-ups, you'll actually stay on the ground and go into your plank jacks. And with the plank jacks, you'll be taking those feet in and out. Big thing is making sure you're not dropping those hips, bouncing around. Feet should start, whether it's on the hands or the elbows, feet are gonna be hopping out wider than shoulder width and then back in towards shoulder width. And so as you guys go in and out, you'll be counting those reps. Another option would be hands on the bench. So those ones, just trying to get you moving, getting your core engaged, really is gonna be the primary mover in that. Then finishing off with your burpees. And those burpees are gonna be, you know, if you're doing your half or the sprint, that would be the end of your floor work. If you're doing the full dry try, then you are gonna actually end with your burpee and then repeat everything over again. So with the burpees, they obviously are there to get your heart rate up, get you a little winded, as you guys could probably hear me a little bit, even though you haven't even done the full rep counts. You're gonna take it down to the ground. The big thing is making sure that you're dropping it like a squat or like a deadlift, or you're hinging. We wanna keep our spine as straight as possible and as long as possible. Hands on the ground, we're gonna hop out, hop back in, and then we'd add that jump at the top. Actually, there might not be a jump, so you think I'd look at that into that beforehand, but may or may not be a jump on that burpee. So just talk to a coach or ask me later. I'll maybe clarify in the comments whether there is a jump or not. My assumption is there is a jump, just to keep you guys on your toes, right? So after your 10 burpees, whether you're jumping in and out or walking in and out, you'll go straight back to those bench hopovers. In my experience with the dry try, that is where a lot of people hit their wall. They'll just get done with their first set of everything, burpees are done, and then they have to go back over and start jumping over the bench. So I'm gonna give you a few options or strategies to take on your 300 reps on the floor, or 150 if you're doing the sprint. So 2 strategies. 1, find a number to rest at and create that planned recovery. So whether you want to do this at home, or you kind of remember how you felt during our Infinity workout, just create a magic number saying, after 20 reps, that's where I was feeling really winded. So I'm going to stop, recover however long I need, and then go into my next exercise or my next set of reps, whatever it is, correct? And then the second option would be creating an unplanned rest. So just checking in with yourself and say, okay, I just did 10 step-ups, feeling kind of tired. I'm gonna recover for 10 seconds and then go back into 10 more. So that one's a little bit more unplanned, but doing little mini rests could be beneficial for you, rather than burning out through all the way through and then all the way through the 300 reps and then speeding over to the run. Find those little recoveries, catch your breath, keep that good form so you guys can come out of that second event confident. Once again, if you guys have any questions about the floor specifically, then please comment below and I can help you out with that. And let's go ahead and start talking about the treadmill. So we're gonna work our way over there. So if you're doing the sprint, you have that 1.55 distance to run all the way through. And if you're doing the full, you have a 5K, so that's 3.1 on your distance. What we're really looking for your pace on that 5K is, nothing too crazy. You don't want to start out too hot because you have that entire run to go through. As you guys are coming off that floor, rather than sitting there recovering because you just got done with your burpees, we really recommend that we get you over here on that treadmill, walking and recovering if you do need a recovery, so that you're at least getting a little bit of mileage taken care of on your entire distance. Whether you're a power walker, jogger, or runner, just at least trying to get some distance covered if you do need to take a recovery. So that's our big tip, is just rest while you're getting distance covered on the treads. Know that the joggers and runners will be at a 1% incline. That's going to be huge. Power walkers will be at a 4% incline, just to kind of create that fairness across the board. And when you're coming into your run, we have a few options for a strategy. So big thing, create a strategy, talk to a coach to see what would fit best for you. I'm going to give you a few options and to see if see if they work well. But first, start at or below your base pace. Catch your breath, then start building into this strategy that we pick. There's 3 options. 1, progressive. 2 would be steady, and then 3, intervals. Pick one of those 3. So let's talk about option 1, progressive. You start out with your run, you already got a little bit more recovered, you're at that base pace or below. Start progressively building up your speed. Whether that's every 3 to 5 minutes, increasing by 0.1 or 0.3, or maybe even half a mile per hour, just progressively building up in that intensity. As you build up, you'll feel a little bit more comfortable and confident in your run, rather than killing yourself right off the bat and having to drop. That can be discouraging, especially mentally, when you're already trying so hard on these other 2 events. So build up progressively. Another option, option 2, would be steady. Creating a steady pace. If you're a runner, then you probably already feel that steady pace and you know where you're at. We do it a lot here at Orangetheory in class itself. You guys on endurance days kind of create that steady run. So we recommend option 2 would be creating a steady run that you run through all the way, try to maintain that speed until you finish your 5K or your sprint. Then option 3 would be intervals. We do intervals almost every day here at Orangetheory, where we take you up to a push, bring you back down to a base, back up to that push and base, right? So creating an interval for yourself, saying every minute I will go up to a push, and then another minute I'll drop down. Or every 2 minutes I'm going to be at my push, and another minute at my base. So creating that up and down where you're allowing yourself to recover, but you're still trying to cover some distance, feeling uncomfortable occasionally to finish out that 5K. So either being progressive, building up. 2 would be steady all the way across. And then 3 would be those intervals where we're going up and down like we would in a regular Orangetheory workout. Practice that out in your workouts here. See what feels right for you. And once again, I recommend talking to a coach personally after class or before class. And they are probably pretty aware of your running. They've worked with you a lot, and they can kind of give you the best plan or strategy for you. And that's what essentially I have for you on the treadmill side. A big thing too would be obviously good form. Christina did an awesome treadmill biometric workshop. If you guys want to access that, if you're part of the Transformation Challenge, you guys can go back and revisit that workshop on our Transformation Challenge Facebook page. So if you do have any questions about biomechanics, then be sure to either ask a coach or review that workshop that Christina did. And pretty much it. I do have one more note just on transition. So when you're transitioning from the rower to the treads, or sorry, from the rower to the floor, and then the floor over to the treadmill, use that time to recover, walking over to your next station. That extra sprint is going to probably save you seconds, but spend you minutes trying to catch up on your breath. So really try to take that recovery in between your rower to the floor, and don't start out too hot into that first rep. Catch your breath, slowly building up in intensity. And remember that the bulk of your work will be that treadmill side, whether you're doing the sprint or the full. Remember, this is probably going to take a quarter of the time each, so on the rower and on the floor, but at least over half of your time spent on that treadmill. So really pace yourself on the rower, pace yourself on the floor, rest when it's needed, whether it's planned or unplanned. Create that rep count, that magic number that you want to stop at, and then get moving on the treadmill to get a little bit of distance covered as you recover, and then start doing one of the 3 strategies that we talked about: progressive, steady, or interval, right? So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for joining the workshop or listening to us later on. If you do have any questions, please reach out to any of the coaches or comment below and I can answer them for you. And we really hope to see you guys at the DriTri, either competing or cheering somebody on and competing next time around so you guys can get a good idea. Thank you for joining and hope to hear from you guys.